No, you do it to me.
Oh, okay. So that I don't miss my intro. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Microsoft Office Hours. It is August 13th. I am Heather Cox, and with me, as always, is.
David Perlman
Oh, see, you had a little bit of a
from Microsoft.
pause. We are very excited you are here today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited about this topic. It's not something I have seen a lot about or could speak to you a lot about. So good thing other people can. We have Chris Watson here with us today, and he is going to be talking to us about Microsoft Teams templates. So, Chris, I am going to turn it over to you. We'll be turning our mics off and cameras off so that folks can focus on what you're sharing with us today. So Chris, take it away.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared and we'll get started. There we are. Okay, cool. Hi guys, my name is Chris Watson. I work for a company called Business Technology Professionals. We're a Microsoft Gold partner. I actually live in Denver now. I used to live on the East Coast in New York. Moved over because we are kind of all over. And so we specialize in K through 12 and higher ed. So I work with people like you guys every day, whether it be frontline educators or whether it be IT administrators, CIOs, and whatnot. So I'm in schools all day long, or at least I used to be until COVID hit. And then after COVID, my whole job became how can I enable remote learning for all of these kids who are going? How do I enable faculty collaboration much easier than we're doing now? And how do I make IT admins' lives easier? Well, so there's some pretty cool stuff that Microsoft is either releasing or has already released. And we're going to touch on two different things today because there's multiple different templates within Microsoft. So like I said, we're business technology professionals. If you would like to contact me to hear more about our company, that's my contact info. And let me dive right into what we're talking about today. So today we're talking about Teams templates. So the two we're going to focus on are Microsoft bot templates. And this is more than just bots if we want to think about it. This is truly going to be, also, can you guys see my screen? I don't know if it's shared properly because my Teams was giving me grief.
It was going and then it stopped.
All right, let's try it now.
It's coming back up. There you go.
Hey, all right, that's what I like to see. All right, thank you guys. Sorry. If it happens again, somebody just interrupt me and we will get that fixed. So the two we're going to talk today are Microsoft app templates. They really kind of work with bots as the back end. And then we're going to use Microsoft Teams templates. So app templates are open source templates that Microsoft has released. They're community based and they're out there so you guys can load in apps easily into Teams that may be useful within your organization. Now, the other template that Microsoft has going on, and it's not out yet, but I want to show it to you guys because I think it's one of the coolest things out there, especially from a Teams management perspective. And I'm all about process and making sure everything is the same. How do I make people's lives easier, faster, and more efficient while also creating the same environment for everyone, creating standards and guidance? Because if we don't have standards, things kind of go a little crazy. So team templates are going to be your new best friend once they come out. And you can kind of use some of the features now, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So let's go through and take a look. How do we go through and create effective teams faster and easier than ever? Well, we're going to use this cool new thing called Microsoft Teams templates. And this is going to be pushed out by Microsoft, and it's a variety of different customized templates for when you're creating a new team. And these are going to help you guys get started using Teams even faster. So let's take a deep dive into what they actually are. So for IT professionals, this is awesome because you guys can create customized templates for your organization to standardize team structures, surface relevant applications, and scale best practices. That's my favorite part, scale best practices. Every organization struggles with that. I work with schools from hundreds of thousands of seats down to schools that have less than 500 employees. Everyone struggles with standardizing on best practices and collaborating together. So team templates are going to be a game changer for them as we go through and work that out. Within templates, you guys will see that coming out in the next few months, so hang tight. I promise they're coming. They are on the roadmap if you do want to know more. So I want to show you guys a quick little video on Microsoft Teams templates that Microsoft released.
Creating a new team? Now you can get started even faster with templates in Microsoft Teams. When creating a new team, users can choose from a variety of customizable templates for common team types. Each template includes predefined channels, tabs, and apps, providing an effective team structure out of the box. After the team is created, users will receive guidance on how to best use and customize the team. Organizations can easily create their own custom templates to fulfill unique business needs. You can create a template from scratch, start from an existing template, or even templatize an existing team in your tenant. Organizations can speed up collaboration, surface relevant apps, standardize team structures, and scale best practices with templates in Microsoft Teams.
So that is our Microsoft little 30-second video that always goes through and makes you feel good about your life. I don't know how, but every time I watch a Microsoft video, I always feel better about myself. I don't understand why, but it happens and it is what it is. So I hope you guys all feel a little better about your lives.
Creating a new
And so let's take a look at how we've always created teams. And no offense, it's kind of exhausting if we think about it, because every time I create a team or I start a new project, most of my work is project-based. I have to go through and I'm like, all right, great, this is super cute. I have to create a whole new team. I don't have any structure. I can't reuse all of the things that I want to use in my new team. And I can't have my coworkers do it for me. As I move forward and I've been getting busier and busier, I've been allocating more tasks to other resources within my environment. That's super great, except all of the templates that I created and used for my own projects and teams, I can't give to them. So by creating these standardized templates within our tenant, I can deploy those for the rest of the organization where we can all have the same standards. This is super cool for people like project managers, administrators, or teachers. That way you don't have to keep wasting your time to create the same information over and over again. So looking forward, what does that look like, and how can we use team templates to expedite our team's creation and ease workflow? Well, if we think about like what a team actually is, teams are kind of the atomic unit of productivity within a workplace and within Microsoft Teams. It's this well-designed template that we create that brings together channels, tabs, and applications. We want to surface all of that relevant business those line of business applications and all of those resources that you could possibly use for your collaboration, and bring it all into one effective place quickly and easily. So let's take a look. The first thing we want to do is when we create a new team, and this is going to be the new teams experience that's coming out, is when you create a new team, it's going to ask you, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to create a team from scratch? Do you want to use a group? Or do you want to use one of these cool new templates that your organization has published to make your life easier? And I'm like, no way, dude. You have a template to make my life easy as a product manager or a PM? Awesome. I want to use that right now. Maybe I'm planning an event. As an organization, you guys can create standardized event planner templates to roll out to your organization. And there's also going to be industry specific templates that are coming out too. So when we create that new team, you're going to have that awesome new experience. And then you're going to go through and be able to customize every part of that experience as well. So not only will we have those industry specific templates that are going to be rolled out by Microsoft, like event management, crisis response, and some other cool templates that are coming, but we're also going to let you make your own, which is super nice. So I've gone through and I'm like, yeah, I want to use this awesome template. Now what do? Well, I give it a name, I give it the description, and then it's going to ask me, hey, here's all of the channels that you should have. Do you want to change any of their names by chance? And that's super easy to do because this new workflow is going to walk you through each part of this team's creation process. So I go through and I've now named my team. I give it a description, and then we can change and whether we want our team to be discoverable or not. That's super exciting in my opinion. So now I'm like, all right, great. I've got all this filled out. I'm going to click create. And now I've created this team. But let's say I have a new employee coming in and I'm like, yeah, there's going to be this template and I want you to go through and make this team. Now, I made them this template, but they don't know how to use it. I haven't told them and explained to them every part of this template and what each thing does and how I built it out. Well, the cool thing is, as IT admins, when you guys create these templates or use the pre-existing templates that Microsoft is making for you, there's that awesome button that says learn how to use this team. And what that learn how to use this team does is that opens up a little web browser and that tells them, hey, here's how you get started. Here's what's in here. Here's how you add a tab. It'll also walk the user through each part of the team that you've added in. So you can give them some guidance and direction, and they can understand more about how to use this team effectively, easily, and to its fullest extent. Because remember, we tied all of our line of business applications into this team. We built the channels, we built the tabs within the channel to surface all of that important, relevant information. So now we're ready to go. We just show them how to use it, and Teams does it for you. So you can increase your workflow even more because you don't have to spend some of your cycles explaining how to use this team to someone. So I've got this awesome new thing, but now how do I create custom templates? Because maybe Microsoft hasn't published something that fits my need or my organization's business need. That's super easy to do. So from the Teams Admin Center, we're switching it up a little bit, and they're going to add some more sections under the Teams creation. So now you guys are going to have another option to create team templates. And what this is going to do is it's going to ask you, hey, you want to make a new template? That's super cool. We're happy you're using it. Now, do you want to build something from scratch? Do you want to use an existing team as a template? So let's say you have somebody in your product management team or in your administration building who already has some teams that they like and they want to start repurposing that. We can use that as a starting point, and we can go forward and say, this was awesome. Let's strip away all the content. Let's strip everything away and just get the shell. Once we have the superstructure, you can then fill it in from there. So we're going to let them do that, or we can use one of those predefined templates that Microsoft already gave us and say, hey, I really like this, but I just need to customize it a little bit to fit my needs. So I can go through and I can do that too. Once I've done that, it's going to ask me, awesome. So we've got some of that built out. Now go ahead and add your channels. Within each channel, go ahead and add the apps that you want to see in those channels. Really make this team exactly what you want it to be. Define all of those line of business applications, define the channel structure, add the tabs in, add all the apps, everything that you may need to make this team successful and to make that awesome superstructure where people can start building the shell around it. That's what you want to do in here. I highly recommend, as you're going through this, start sitting down with some of those and sitting down and gathering those business requirements. That way we can really understand what our end customer need. And I say customer because we're in IT and our job here is to focus on our users, and our users are truly our customer. Whether we're selling them something or whether we're just helping them out, a customer is a customer no matter where you look at. So you want to make sure you gather all the business requirements before doing this, because we don't want to give somebody a template that they're still going to have to mark up. We've defeated the entire purpose of it at that point. Cool things, you can integrate things like tasks and planner and flow, logic apps, all of the cool stuff that we're talking about and that Dave Perlman's going to try to find somebody else to talk about. I may know someone. You can load that stuff in here and define that template. From there, in the admin center, you're going to have another one that's going to be all of your team's templates. And this is going to be everything within your organization that we've published as a template that you guys have available. This is super cool because coming after they release this, they're going to be releasing group-based or policy-based assignment. So not only do I have to roll this out for the entire organization where everybody can see it, but now I can start pigeonholing it even further and say, okay, when I have somebody from finance go to create a team, what do I want to show them? Do I want to show them everything that somebody maybe need in curriculum and development? No, it doesn't make sense for them to see those templates. We want to show them relevant information. So coming soon, we'll also be able to create groups where we can say, this group of people is going to be able to go and see these templates. This set of templates is for these people. So we can start breaking out that organizational structure and saying, hey, here's where you're going to see. If you need more, let me know. But this is what your department gets. So that's coming to a theater near you soon. That is one type of template, and I'm so excited to see it because for me, I think it's going to save so many people time and energy, and really roll out those awesome standards that every organization is working to build out and save people time and get everybody on the same page. So I kept talking about this awesome new thing, and everybody's probably like, when is it available, dude? I want it now. Well, coming soon. In Q3, we're going to have it out, hopefully. Now, the roadmap does change, so your mileage may vary, and they usually go tenant by tenant, so we should see it. I can't say exactly when, but from all of the projections that I was talking, and I did speak to some of the team's product managers before this, it's showing Q3. So let's pray and hope for the best, and we'll see what happens. What you can do now, since this isn't available and the beginning of school is coming, I want to show you guys what your teachers can do and what you guys can do to use existing teams as templates. So let's say I'm going through and I have my class from last year. I really loved the content that I was using. Now I want to repurpose that entire thing because I built that team out perfect. I went through and I was like, I have all my channels for my year. I have all of my content in there. My tabs were perfect. I want to repurpose this team for next year so I don't have to build out this entire thing for my students, especially with the way things are going in COVID. We want to make sure that we ease everybody's use, especially as we're trying to roll out applications. So to teach teachers how to be able to use their teams from last year to create their teams for this year is super cool, or even staff development teams. So you look at things like school-wide teams or district-wide teams that you might have, or curricular development, and they did all of their stuff for last year, and now they're like, that's great, but this is a new school year. I don't want to have to recreate everything. Use the existing team as a template. And so I made a little video so I didn't have to bop around because I usually have the worst luck with demos. So the easiest thing to do is when you go to create a team, you go through and click the join or create a team. Now we're going to redo a class, but instead of making a new one, I clicked on the bottom there, and let me just rewind a little bit so you can see what I clicked on. On the bottom, there is that create a team using an existing team as a template. What that lets us do is clone an entire team and recreate it. So we go through and I'm like, okay, great. Here's all of the teams that I have. I built out my algebra team and now I want to redo it. So this is super cool if you think about it. I'm teaching algebra this year. I have 7 sections of algebra. I don't want to have to redo all of my teams for each of my section. That's exhausting. So instead, I make one, or I repurpose last year's. And now I go through and I'm like, all right, this is algebra 1. This is algebra 2. This is algebra 3. Or this is first period. This is second period. So we can repurpose it. And you'll see here, we have options. It's not just, do I want to repurpose the entire thing? Maybe I don't want the entire thing. Maybe I only want the tabs. Maybe I only want the team settings, or maybe I only want the apps. I don't have to go through and say, clone this whole thing. We let you pick. Now this awesome feature down here where it says members, this lets us literally clone the entire team in its whole. So instead of me going through and creating a new curricular development team for the 2021 school year, all I have to do is take my 2020 school year, I go through, I click clone, I give it a new name, I can include my members, and we're ready to go to start creating new material for our students. Maybe you're in the project management office and you guys have some more projects coming out. I can go through and I can make a new project team from my existing project. Now, this is what I do now, but they're mine. I have to, if you go back and we see, let's take 1 second. When I go through, these are only my teams. I can't use somebody else's team as a template. It's not there. So when I go through, I want to use my team. It's mine. I like the way that I set it up. So I go through and I pick it. But if I really like Sharon and she has an awesome project management team, unfortunately, I can't copy it. So what we do is that's the goal of Teams templates, that the organization can use it. But for now, for all of your teachers and all of the faculty and staff who are trying to get ready for this crazy school year, show them how to use templates. Be like, hey, there's this cool new feature. It's been out for a while, but we didn't really talk about it. And this is how you can make your life easier getting ready for the new school year. Depending on the version of School Data Sync that you're using, this should also be available. I know that they've kind of been changing it around and I haven't seen the most current version because it seems like it was changing every week for a little while, but it should also be available for you when you go to use School Data Sync to clone other teams as well. So the experience should be, hey, go ahead, we've loaded in all your data for School Data Sync. Now go through and you can go and clone your old teams. Now your mileage may vary. I haven't seen this year's version of School Data Sync because we're kind of in between this School Data Sync 2.0, School Data Sync original, and then there's this like mix in between that they're pushing. So like I said, your mileage may vary, but check it out. It's pretty cool stuff. So I've gone through and I picked my team that I want to create. I go, I've got my algebra class. Now this is going to be my algebra 2. So I go and I'm just going to add a 2 at the end of it because that's how life goes. And now it's creating that team for us. And we can go through and add everybody in. You'll notice I didn't select the members button. So now it's going to go through and it's going to ask me, just like when we create a regular team, who do you want to add as a member? Who do you want to add as an owner? Same concept. So that's coming. It's here for you guys. Show your teachers, show your faculty, make their lives just a little easier to save them some time. So the next thing I want to talk about is app templates for Teams. Another set of templates. This is so cool, guys. Everybody's like, I want a bot, I want an app, I want to use Teams more. How can I do that? Well, we look at things like Teams apps. And Microsoft, because they're super awesome, they've created over 30 app templates for you guys to already use. They're ready to go. They're stored on GitHub. Each contain detailed instructions for how you can deploy this within your organization. How do I install the app in Teams? Is it ready to go? What is it? How can I report a bug? All of that is there, ready to go. Microsoft checks it over. You can go if you want. Since it lives in GitHub, you can fork the code and make your own changes. Now that was super cool when I saw that and that they put it in GitHub, because what I've been doing is I fork all of the code that I do. I start a new branch and then I start playing with it. I'm like, all right, great, this is cool, but how can I make it better? How can I keep going? I just mark up all the code, I change it, make it fit my needs for my organization or the school that I'm working with. And then if you want and you're feeling nice, and I actually have one that I'm about to do, you can submit it back to the original repo and be like, hey, I think you should make these changes. That can also be done too. So if you want to help be part of the community and make this grow and even stronger, because all of this is community driven and open source, you have a chance to help it as well. I'm totally here for that. So why do we want to use app templates? Well, it's a plug and play experience. All of these templates include deployment scripts that allow you to host your own resources within Azure, and there's really no coding experience required. Now, I highly recommend that you have a little JSON notation experience so you can take a look and really understand what you have to do, because there are some variables and some things you have to change within the code to make it fit in your environment, but it's really not that bad. So take a look at that. If you aren't really sure, reach out to me and I can totally walk you through it. It's not that hard. It's all production ready code. The coolest thing is that Microsoft was like, yep, this is ready to go. Here you go. We checked it, we vetted it. It's all secure and it's ready to work perfectly within Azure, within Teams, and within the entire Microsoft ecosystem. Now, every time you guys submit changes within the community, it is reviewed to ensure that there is code integrity. So if you do decide you want to help out, it's not just being pushed back, and that should make everybody else feel a little better too, that Microsoft is watching over the code and making sure that there's nothing malicious within these. Now, another thing, it's customizable. So while all of these app templates are ready to be deployed, as they are, we also provide the entire code base and the deployment scripts with information on how you can customize it and extend it to fit your needs. And the documentation is pretty awesome. I will say, I haven't had, prior to this, a whole lot of experience using app templates before to do all of this, but with the resources that Microsoft gives you, and with just a little bit of brain power, not too much, because we all know we have to save a little extra for gossip time prior to our office hours call, or a pregame, I believe you guys call it. Well, just a little bit of brain power and some JSON notation, an Azure subscription, Visual Studio, and Power Apps, you guys can make amazing applications that will blow your organization's mind. One of the cool ones that I love and want to show you is this Request a Team app that you load in. So many organizations I work with really struggle with, how do I control teams? Microsoft best practice is, in K through 12, you should lock down Teams creation to a set of users. Now, whether that set of users is IT administration or all faculty is up to you, but you shouldn't let students create teams per the best practice guidance from Microsoft. I totally agree with that. But if you want to lock it down a little more and say, hey, I think you should request a team before you do anything, how do I make my life easier as an IT administrator? Because we all know our IT help desks are flooded with tickets. Well, Request a Team bot is super easy. It's awesome for you guys to deploy, and I think you'll find a lot of value in it. That's why I wanted to feature it today. With Request a Team, you'll load this application in. It has an Azure backend, just so you know, so you do need an Azure subscription. But what we do here is when we load this into the tenant through the Teams admin portal, we can actually pin it to the left app rail. And when we pin things to the left app rail, that allows us to go through and say, all right, this set of users has this app available. Now just remember, the left app rail is app policies within the Teams admin center, and you can control who has access to that. So don't do the global org-wide default when you're rolling this out, because then all students are going to see it and it's not going to work and you're going to have a bunch of issues. So make sure when you're rolling this out, you pick the right policy groups that you want to assign it to. So we go through and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to let you request a team. So what do? We go and we give them this page. So they request a team and they're like, hey, give us a team name that you want, give us the description, and then tell us why you need it. Once you filled out all of that information, we're going to go through and we're going to send that to the IT team or whatever team you guys specify. They're going to get a card within a Teams channel that's going to say, hey, somebody submitted a request and here's what they want. Can they do it or are they not allowed to do it? So we go through and you're like, yeah, dude, sure, you can have that team. Well, the rest of the script is going to go through and make that team for them. It's going to add the membership, add the team, apply any policies that you guys want, and throw it into the ring. Now, as an IT admin, you guys are probably all like, this is super cool and all, but like, how do I keep track of all of my requests? Well, they thought of that too. So within the specified channel that you guys put in this code, it's going to say, I'm going to throw this tab in the top for you. And here's everybody who's requested a team. Now, what do they want? What are their details? Who is it? And then it's going to be like, hey, do you want to take a look at all of these people because you have a whole bunch of pending approvals? Or did you already approve it or did you reject it? Do I want to take another look? Who did I approve? Who did my colleagues approve? So that's all of that information on one beautiful page. All of this is available. This one leverages the back end of Azure Logic Apps for the back end service of it. So it does periodic intervals. It uses the Microsoft Graph API. And it's really a very powerful tool for anybody in K through 12 and higher ed who is concerned about locking down Teams creation and getting a better handle on their Teams environment. So that was Request a Team. And I want you guys to know that it's available, ready to use. It helps you guys build out a process. One of the cool things about this Request a Team process is that it helps you guys promote using team templates also. Because if somebody has a template that they would like to use, so they have a team that they already have within their Teams environment, and they want to repurpose that team, they can still do that. So it's not just you only get a brand new team, you can also repurpose teams that you had. So just like I said before, how I guys showed you that when you do create a team, you can create from existing team, you still have that same option with this team's request. So we're not taking any features away. Just a heads up. It drives a better out-of-the-box experience and helps reduce time that you guys spend answering tickets. Here's your resources, aka.ms/Teams app templates. That's all. Super easy. I want to take a minute and show you guys that web page because Microsoft did an awesome job putting it together. So here's that web page for you guys, and you'll see they walk through, hey, here's all of this, but also on the left, hey, here's those 30 apps Microsoft made for me. So I've got associate insights. Attendance is another cool one. Remote learning. How do our teachers take attendance? If they don't have it within their SIS, they can do it here. You guys can use Book a Room. I want you guys to go through, take a look. Like I said, it's aka.ms/Teams app templates. This is where you're going to find all of that information to help you be successful. And if you have any questions, call me, email me. We're here to help. Dave Perlman, I've worked with him for forever now, and he's worked with my boss for literally forever. I think since he started at Microsoft when they founded the company, and we're here to help.
Well, it has been a long time. It's more than a decade or two. So anyways, Chris, awesome job. Really appreciate that. I learned a few things. Maybe we could take a minute to answer a question or two. Heather, who's winning the basketball game?
Let me see. It is Phoenix. They are up 45-37.
Excellent. So, hey, Chris, will the new templates allow us to populate with text like a getting started tab with text about getting started or something along those lines, do you believe?
It's going to give you info as to like the superstructure, but it doesn't let you fill out specifics. So you can't, I haven't seen where you can go through yet and say, I'm going to populate information within this tab. What you really want to do is use that description field. So remember how we had before that, here's how to use this team.
Yep.
Right within the template. This page here, that's where you're going to put all of that information. So that's your getting started info, is the learn how to use this team.
I'm gonna get on.
Okay.
You want to be in a seat?
Great. And then we also had one, I think it was a similar related question from Jason. You know, as we have those templates, is there any way to add that same content to the following semester? So, you know, close out the current semester, archive it, then create a new team with the same lessons and content, and just hydrate that. There's a person on the Microsoft side that always says hydrate. So have you seen that? Any insights into that?
Yeah, so that comes more along the school data sync side of things, and that repurpose existing team when creating a team. So that's not where you're going to see, so templates are more for like an organizational standard, but if you'd like to rehydrate an old team and save all of that content, as you're going through and you're doing the school data sync upload, it doesn't, I believe they turned off Teams pre-provisioning, so now it's on-demand provisioning. So when you roll out school data sync and it does its initial sync, it's going to go through and say, hey teacher, here's all of your teams that are available for you to create that we've already rostered for you. Now, do you want to use any of last year's teams and rehydrate them and all their information? Because at the end of last year, what you guys should have done, and what I believe you should do, and it's kind of best practice, is when you're finishing school data sync, your profile has expired, and you go through and you run your end of year cleanup. For the teachers, you should take all of their teams and you should put them into a read-only state where they can go through and still have access to all of that information, but take the students out. So the team still exists in a read-only state. It's called archiving the team. It takes all the students out and rehydrate it that way. If you want to know more and you have school data sync questions, I've rolled out school data sync for umpteenth number of schools at this point. I forget, so I can walk through that with you as well.
Awesome. So Chris has been really good. Appreciate you answering the questions. Kevin just had a comment saying to turn back on the option for auto creation. On this note, I'm going to stop the recording here and we will, let me just stop recording.